welcome everybody to episode 4 of the Couch Crunch podcast. We are just a bunch of dorks, just kicking it on the couch. We actually have a full house today, so I'm going to introduce all my co-hosts. We're starting off with Nicholas. Say what's up.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm hoping you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's definitely going to be a nice one.
Hey guys, it's Don here. Hope everyone's doing well.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Mir here, aka Iconic Legend. Sorry, I've been off for a couple episodes, but I'm back and I'm ready to get into some good topics.
Always with the AKs. All right, let's start things off. All right, we're going to start things off with a huge spoiler alert. Before anything, if you're listening to this podcast and you've not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm giving you 5 seconds right now to go away. All right, so we're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. Before we get into like the deep topics, the deep discussion. Overall, what do you guys think? Yes, no, great show? Great movie? No, bad movie? What do you think?
I think it was like the greatest Spider-Man movie I've ever seen, honestly, because I grew up on watching the Tobey Maguire ones. I was like, man, and the 2014 one, The Amazing Spider-Man, it was good too, but I didn't like it as much as, the Tobey Maguire ones as growing up. So, because, I was such a big fanboy growing up, watching Tobey Maguire. So watching No Way Home, it was like one of the greatest Spider-Man movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, this one definitely made me a more fan of this current Spider-Man, because I liked the other previous two, but this one really rounded it off and tied it with a bow, and it really is definitely a fan Spider-Man movie. They really tied all 3 generations together. I love how they ended it off.
Yeah, this one was a blast. I'm a huge sucker for Spider-Man. Surprisingly, I'm a fan of all of them. Like the original one, the Amazing Spider-Man series, I adored all of them. I definitely think that Far From Home definitely was the best of the 3 in terms of Tom Holland. There's a fun fact, though. They say that this movie is Sony's best-selling movie right now, I think. This Spider-Man right now. So, that's a huge feat for them. That just shows you what happens when Marvel characters can go to a different brand. I don't think another character, I don't think they'll be able to get another character. So, definitely Spider-Man is like Sony's hometown. But yeah, in terms of the movies, it was great. It lived up to like all my expectations. I have a thing with Tom Holland's Spider-Man though, and I want you guys to like jump in on this. More so because like the origins of Spider-Man is like, obviously it's documented that he's a genius and he's a science nerd and all that good stuff like that. But I don't really feel that too much with Tom Holland. I can't remember Homecoming too much. I remember it briefly, but like, I don't really see the science Peter in terms of this Tom Holland version. Like, I know that in Far From Home, he was accepted, he was trying to get into like a university and stuff like that. But I think the bookworm genius part of that character was kind of missing. And and that was in all of the movies. That's why I said I briefly remember the other 2. But for me, it's like that kind of distinguishes the other 2 Spider-Man. Even with the original one by, forgive me if I don't remember the writer's name, but I think it's like, Alex, you might remember. It's like Sam something. Sam Raimi. Yeah. His versions. Peter, even in that one, he wasn't really like, he was smart. You knew that, but he wasn't like, in terms of like, when we see the video game adaptations, like he's a genius. He works with Doc Ock and all that stuff like that. So, I guess I kind of wanted that from the trilogy of the Tom Holland Spider-Mans. But at this point, it's already too late because we are where we are in the series. So... But I think, as you mentioned, spoilers, I think the biggest thing for me was definitely Matt Murdock's appearance. That was fucking phenomenal. Like, it was... I'm talking like when this man showed up, the theater was booming. People got up out their seats, gave a fucking standing ovation. It was amazing. And it just sets up to like what potentially can come from all the Marvel MCU shows. So I'm really like looking forward to that.
Yeah, going back on what you said about Tom Holland's like missing like science, like I slightly disagree because like I wouldn't say it was missing, but I do agree it was definitely underutilized because like in Far From Home, he uses the Stark like the fabricator to build his own suit. in Far From Home. Like that was cool, but I do agree with you that like it was underutilized. Like we didn't see a lot of that, and that's why like Andrew Garfield's the most, because we see him actually work at Oscorp, and like we see him like work at like what is it in the sequel when he's like working on like his web shooters to counteract Electro's electricity. I thought that was really cool.
That's the beauty of it, because like I think like in terms of origin, that's where the origin comes from the most. Even though people hate that one. For me personally, just having that connection to that science like aspect of Spider-Man, I think that's why I enjoyed it so much.
And like I do agree that like Tom Holland's was like not the best Spider-Man, but I think he was the best Peter Parker in the sense of like, I'm sorry, the other way around. He wasn't the greatest Peter Parker, but he was definitely the best like Spider-Man in my opinion. Like he was very snarky and it was comical in a way, more than the others.
I agree with you. That's a really good point. Like, because when you said like Peter Parker, I was kind of like, because the very first one was like, it was the most genuine. You couldn't like, that was our first experience with Spider-Man. Like the original ones that came out like in the 2000s. Peter was a geek. He was getting picked on. I think his backstory was excellent. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that, Tom Holland might have, but then again, I don't know, maybe not so much, because like my issue with Tom Holland is like, I don't know, like I'm not really, well, I'll say this, like Far From Home really made me appreciate him more as a superhero, because he had a lot more going this time. He was like, in terms of like dealing with villains, like he was a lot more combative. He knew how to handle situations better. Like I think that one of the biggest things that made me like realize he knew what he was doing is when he was fighting Electro. I mean, yeah, granted he got help from Sandman, but it was still more so like, he learned a lot from his very first journey since the very first movie.
And like I liked No Way Home more than Far and Homecoming, because like Homecoming just felt too small scale for me in a weird way. Like because like in the MCU, you're used to these like big bad villains. Like don't get me wrong, it was cool to see finally like a small scale, but like in a weird way, I was just like, it's not that. It's a little too small scale for me, but like obviously they ramped it up in each movie, and like I just think that No Way Home was the most like what's the word I'm thinking of, like the biggest like stakes, like the highest stakes were in Far From Home and No Way Home, because of the the whole multiverse, the whole ending scene with the multiverse being ripped apart and everything, and like go ahead, Amir. I see you.
So again, I forget. I'm blanking out. But who was the villain in No Way Home? It was Mysterio, right?
In No Way Home?
Yeah.
Or Far From Home?
Isn't Far From Home is the newest one, right? Or
the newest one is No Way Home.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the one that came out with Mysterio. I apologize for getting the titles mixed up. But yeah, the one with Mysterio. I don't know. Like for me, I kind of like, I enjoyed it, but it was like, I don't know. I didn't really like Mysterio that much.
I didn't hate Mysterio, but like I didn't really care for the casting that much. I don't know. Again, nothing against Jake Gyllenhaal. It's just like I feel like they could have gotten somebody a little. I don't know. It's just the casting was a little weird to me. And then obviously the villains in No Way Home are the the classics, the Sandman, Green Goblin, and all them and all that. Can we talk about Green Goblin in No Way Home? Don, go ahead.
Man, that did it for me. Like that was like my highlight of that whole movie. Bringing back Green Goblin, he did a wonderful job as the villain of that. He stole the show for me. Like he had like one of the biggest fight scenes towards the end, and it's fantastic because they was kind of skeptical before the movie came out about who will play Green Goblin, if it was going to be his son or it was going to be him initially. But
really, that was didn't happen.
Whoa. I heard about that, like rumors, like because this is around the time they didn't even know still if the other two Spider-Man was going to be in it. So
okay,
yeah.
So the concept days, like the development stage of the movie,
right? Well, we all knew that all the Spider-Mans was going to be in there.
Yeah, I agree. Green Goblin was phenomenal. Surprisingly though, for me, like I adored all the villains in there. Sandman definitely was underrated, but he did a great job, like for sure. I think though, for me, I was so convinced that when Peter helped out Doc Ock, that it was going to change everybody. I was thoroughly convinced that everybody was going to get a second chance and that everybody was going to try to reshape their history. But I mean, it was too good to be true, knowing the fact that, Green Goblin has, two different type of like
personalities.
Exactly, personalities. So like I just had a feeling like I knew it'd be too good to be true to hear like Green Goblin switch over. And then we even seen it with Electro. He was kind of on his side where he was like, bro, like, I love this new universe I'm in. Look at the city. I can do so much here. So, I mean, there was definitely hints, but I really hope that would have happened, that everybody would have got a second chance. But at the same time, that would have altered everything too. So
I would like to see like a cool like little like villain on villain fight scene or something. You know what I mean?
For sure. That would have been
like,
fire.
Green Goblin versus Doc. I think there was a little bit of that, but like, you know what I mean? Like a full-on fight scene real quick. And then they all started to work together or something like that.
It would have been amazing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did save Pete from the Green Goblin. I think this is the part with, again, spoiler alert, when I think it was at the situation with Aunt May. I think that's where he saved her, or I might be wrong. Didn't he save, or this was before?
It was Doc Ock helped him during the fight with Green Goblin on the Statue of Liberty thing.
Okay. I could have swore it was in the part where before
you mean the apartment fight? I think he helped him a little bit, but I don't remember.
He definitely was arguing and combative against Green Goblin at that time because they were having that conversation, and he was like, Harry, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
That. So. But yeah, I mean, it's Green Goblin, bro. Like, it's one of the most notorious villains in Marvel, so I don't really expect any change for him. But I am glad to see that this happened. But yeah, I mean,
all right, no, go ahead, Dan.
My one problem is the very beginning, the whole thing that set everything off. Spider-Man, why did you do that with Dr.
Well, I mean, you gotta think about it. Like, his life has been like turned upside down, but at the same time, there was a certain amount of people that he was worried that if they didn't know he was Spider-Man, there could have been complications with that. You know what I mean? Because his life, think about it. If he never told MJ that he was Spider-Man, they would never have been where they are right now. You know what I mean?
Right, but like the whole idea of him giving them a second chance, all the villains a second chance, is like,
oh, you mean like him? Do you mean like the fight scene with him and Doctor Strange?
Yeah, like him taking it and then sending him to that different dimension on that whole, I forget the universe, that portal him and Doctor Strange was fighting in.
Yeah, that goes back to the whole like great power comes, the infamous Spider-Man quote, "Great power is great responsibility." It's like you know what I mean? Like he does he really just send them back to go die, or does he at least try to save them? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think that. I mean, I don't know. That situation is kind of hard because it's like, Mysterio kind of did ruin everything, and it's kind of like, all right, well, like, do I just stick with this, or do I just erase the whole world? But I do want to say that fight scene was amazing.
Yeah, I called that.
I don't even think you can call it a fight scene because did they even land a? They didn't even land a punch on each other.
Theoretically, it's considered a fight scene, but it wasn't an actual fight. It was, you know what I mean?
Either way, it was still amazing because this is the first time we ever get like Spider-Man in a Doctor Strange kind of thing. I mean, cool. There were things in like Civil War and like the Avengers and stuff, but like this was great. I thought it was awesome. I thought the part where he knocked Spider-Man out of his body, that was crazy.
I thought it was a pretty cool scene too, like crazy. With the like him showcasing the spider sense thing, like when he knocked him out and like he was still blocking, he's still dodging Doctor Strange with the trying to get the cube thing.
It was crazy. But see, so this is my next thing too, because it's like, is it really Spider-Man's fault or is it Doctor Strange's fault?
Theoretically, it's both their fault. I blame both of them.
Yeah, like when you simplify it is both of their fault, but like, at the end of the day, I mean, I get it. Peter kept changing the spell, but Doctor Strange allowed it. Right?
Also, like Peter's a kid, so I was like, why did Doctor Strange like? Was like, oh yeah, let me get this kid. Let me give this kid what he wants, and change the fabric of reality.
And he knew the consequences of it. You know what I mean? He told him, "You listen, stop making me change the spell, whatever the case may be." But you're Doctor Strange. You're doing this. You've lived for how many times? How many years? You've tampered with times. How many times? You know the consequences that come with that.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Dan.
And we all know towards the end, I don't think that's Doctor Strange. That's not home.
We'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. Nick, you got anything you want to add to this little convo?
Yeah, I just the only thing I do want to add to what Don just said, I don't know. It definitely doesn't feel like it's Doctor Strange either. Mephisto definitely feels like it could be Mephisto. It's interesting because, like I said, just to piggyback off what Ramir said as well too, it's never been a movie like just Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, because I mean I don't know, they don't really get too much of the I guess you say the headlight, because usually, you know, the Avengers they're always focusing on the main characters of the Avengers. It is really interesting, you know, and they're both my favorite two heroes. So it's really good to see that.
All right. Now let's talk about the infamous post-credit scene going on here. Venom in the MCU. Who was that? You want to add, Don? Go ahead.
Oh man, we already know with was that Fox or was that Sony?
It was Fox.
Fox that owns Venom initially.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is Sony.
They had to do that in order to keep Venom inside the MCU, but also keep that version of Venom and the Sony version. That's obviously what they was doing. I'm like, that's a real kind of cheap way of keeping both Venoms and the companies. So I was like, oh man.
Real quick, I don't hate the way they did it. I just kind of wish they did more with it. You know what I mean? Like, why was Tom Hardy's, like, they could at least, like, found Tom Holland first, and then they could have sent him back. You know what I mean?
Incorporate him into some kind of way, but they just made a post-credit scene. And
like, he was just there and then gone, yeah. I mean, we do have Venom in the MCU now, which is good at least, but, you know, go ahead, Mir.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, but you got to think about it, right? Like, wasn't, because technically, I know we're talking about different companies here, but just having it originally stuck with the comics, like, there's multiverse, right? We know this, so it's kind of like, I'm sorry, you said there's a Marvel, how is Venom owned or something like that?
So Venom is owned, Venom and Spider-Man, theoretically, they're owned by Sony. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, with the multiverse being around, it could have been an easy way for Venom to come in, just based off of that alone. So I think with the Venom movies that came out, even though at this period they're not in alignment with the MCU, that post-credit scene pretty much put everything together. But I mean, outside of that, I thought it was great. Like, I mean, you have to have Venom and Spider-Man. Like, it's essential. You can't, like...
So here's the real question, though. Who do you want to see be Venom? Like, what actor do you want to see, like... Who do you want to see in the MCU as Venom?
To be honest... I don't know, because, like, at this point, like... Because when was the last time we had Venom in Spider-Man 3, right?
Yeah, but that was Topher Grace, and we don't talk about that.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's been so long since we had a Venom. I don't know. The actor to me doesn't really matter that much. I think more so like how they actually display that relationship between Spider-Man and Venom is more so what I'm like sold off of. But then again, there's different versions of Venom too, so it just depends on which version of Venom we get too.
I think they're doing the Flash Thompson Venom. I can't tell because I don't know if you noticed, but in Far From Home, the actor who plays Flash Thompson, he's blonde now, and like that's kind of his appearance in the comics. So it's like I think they're going for a Flash Thompson Venom, but obviously we'll see.
But see, that's the thing too. Like, it could we even get? I know we're talking about Venom, but is there a possibility of Carnage anymore?
It's always a possibility, but I highly doubt they're going to do Carnage. It's too much to my decision. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, the Sony version of Venom, I'm probably the only one here. I don't like the version of Venom.
Really?
No, it's too goofy. It's just like too cheesy.
All right.
He's just making jokes about shit in the air, and I'm like, oh, brother.
rolling like a turd in the wind.
I want to... If they're gonna do a more MCU Venom, I want to be more serious and more, you know, prone to coming at the Peter Parker.
I want a more monstrous Venom, actually. Now I think I want him to be like more like a, not necessarily a feral beast, but more like a animalistic kind of Venom. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I 100% agree, but I feel like if this was to come, it'd be bad for Spider-Man. an aggressive version of like Venom like that. Because I mean, like you said, Don, like the Sony one is like more sarcastic, a little on the like calmer side. I think if we were to get like a Venom from like, you know, a more aggressive state, it'd be pretty bad for Spider-Man, all his companions. Like it'd be really bad.
I mean, listen, I think there's a way that they can make it work. Just less. I do agree with Don a little bit less, because there's enough snarky, sarcastic characters in the MCU. It's like, don't make Venom one of them. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, because you can't really take him serious as a villain at that point. You're just like, he's just gonna be the comedic relief.
Yeah, we're going from like anti-hero Venom to a possible villain. You know what I mean? Like now he's aimed towards more villain, so he's got to at least be a little more sinister. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a SNL skit or something. I'm like, come on.
That's a good example.
Are you serious?
SNL Venom. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so please, if you make I like the way that Venom looks, like the big bulky, because I'm used to that muscular Venom, but I just want to be more serious and more, because I always had the same problem with Carnage. Like, they censored a lot in the Venom versus Carnage, the last.
I think Carnage looked fine. He was cut, but he wasn't like bulky. He was really thin. So like, I mean, that's what Carnage is supposed to look like. He's more of a thin build symbiote, and like he uses like sharp, like bladed things a lot. So it's like, I think they did fine with the look of him.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about the look of him. I'm saying like character wise, like the way he acted.
You mean like Cletus Cassidy?
Right.
Yeah, that one was I didn't hate it, but I think they could have done a little better. I like the casting, don't get me wrong. I think it was like, from a writing standpoint, they made him they kind of like watered down the seriousness of the fact that he's like a deranged serial killer. Like they made him a little more of like a cartoon villain.
Right.
And like, that's fine and all, but if you're going to put it in movie form, I want to see like, I want to see a deranged serial killer. You know what I mean? Like the whole like the way they did the Joker and like Joaquin Phoenix version. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
He was more.
But then at that point, I think we'll be asking for like something standalone, because I don't really feel like this wasn't for a first act for Carnage. I thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, he was fine for what he was.
We would need something like individually by himself.
Yeah. Bring a Carnage movie, Marvel. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the way that, well, that's going into the movie, but the way he got his powers in that movie, I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
All right, go ahead, Nick.
As far as seeing Tom Hardy as playing this Eddie Brock, I think they fit the right actor for the role, though. I think, he definitely fits the role well. Because if you read the comics on how Eddie Brock is, I read a few. He narrows it down to like playing the role actually really good.
I agree with that.
And being able to see, I mean, the joking side of him, not a lot of people are used to Venom being like that, because they're used to him being a vicious, like an actual enemy towards Spider-Man, or playing an actual villain. But I still like it, though, that the fact that, it makes me laugh. I mean, still, and, it brings a good audience towards it sometimes. I mean, because that's what the generation is going towards anyway. And I understand, Marvel movies, the action is where it's at. And, everybody wants to stick to their roles as far as the heroes and the characters. But sometimes it's okay. I like the joking side of him. You know what I mean? So that's my input on that.
That's cool. All right. So building off of the Spider-Man, let's talk about just the MCU as a whole. How are you guys feeling about the whole, like, the multiverse being ripped open, and like now there's like infinite possibilities and everything? Don, why don't you start us off? What do you think about the future of the MCU?
Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good, because it's starting to get stale for me, the last generation from the 2010s of the MCU.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like, all right, we keep seeing the same heroes in each movie, the Avengers. I was like, okay, I like the Avengers, but we're just saying like
you want to see branching off. You want to see expansion.
So I'm liking like that they introducing new characters now, like
Shang-Chi, Morbius.
Right.
Shang-Chi was one of my favorite Marvel movies so far.
Really stand out.
I love that movie so much. Real quick, I want to I love this idea of the multiverse thing, because like you said, I love the fact that it opens up the avenue to bring whoever they want, theoretically. Like the MCU can bring any superhero now, and all they have to say is like, oh, it's the multiverse. You know what I mean? He's being dragged into this world or whatever, or that character's being brought in.
Right.
Marvel, Dear Marvel, get off your butts and make me my Nova movie. I am warning you.
Yeah, bro.
Go ahead,
I think it's gonna be a while for that one. I mean, I'm looking at the list here of like all the Phase 4. I mean, me personally, this would be a shocker to everyone. Like, I haven't seen the Thor movies. I think I've seen the first one. I know it's really bad. It's really bad.
Mir's been fired from this
I'm
podcast.
Not the biggest Thor fan, but I am interested in seeing this new Thor: Love and Thunder. I've seen the trailer for it. It looks pretty good. I am excited for Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther sequel.
I'm worried about the production for it though, because there's a lot of chaos going on with that movie.
Yeah,
like writing wise.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's not too much announced about it right now, but I think based off of the first one, because I still think the Black Panther is like one of the top 3 biggest selling Marvel movies. So I think that'll be pretty hard to beat. That'll be a good thing in itself, though. Will this surpass that? I don't think it will, to be honest with you, simply based off of the Chadwick Boseman thing.
Real quick, would you prefer to see Shuri? Because I know the writing they said that they were either trying to have the writing where Shuri, his sister, take over as Black Panther, or they were just going to recast. Which would you prefer?
So Shuri, my memory is a blur with that movie too, but she's the tech whiz, right?
Yeah, she's like the smart one who like builds his suits and everything.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think as long as they give her like some proper training, I think she could, be a pretty good Black Panther. I mean, she has the brain, she has the smarts. I'm not really like against like different versions of heroes or like different genders or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm fine with her, picking up that role. Honestly, I don't really think I can see anybody else playing that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, honestly, like who, like if they, instead of recasting, if they were just gonna write it to where somebody else would take the mantle, it's like, who would they give it to? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think
M'Baku's too, like, he's in charge of like the gorilla tribe thing. Like, I don't think M'Baku is really the right person to do it.
No.
And then who else? You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do? Bring back Killmonger from the dead or something?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
What about King T'Challa, the bigger guy?
Oh, you're talking about M'Baku.
Oh, that's M'Baku.
Yeah, that's M'Baku. That's what I was talking. That's who my brain went to. But I don't think they would do it because like he's already like running his own tribe. You know what I mean? He's already leader of a sub tribe. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe they could, or Daniel Kaluuya's character. You know what I mean? I forgot his name, but I can see maybe him taking over. But again, he was a betray in the first movie. He was like basically ready to betray Wakanda for Killmonger. So it's like, would they really? I'm pretty sure he's in jail at this point.
So, I mean, not to throw us off topic with the Wakanda Forever, but I think the biggest movie for me that I'm looking for is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I'm only excited for that movie because it's rumored that will bring Nova into the MCU.
I mean, it's with the Nova Corps. I mean, like...
Well, remember, the Nova Corps, here's the thing, though.
The second?
No, in Infinity War. In the beginning of Infinity War, Thanos already has the Power Stone. So the reason why he has that is because he destroyed Xandar. And now Xandar is the home planet of the Nova Corps. Yeah. So basically he obliterated the Nova Corps already. So it's like, that's why I'm intrigued to see if it is rumored that they are going to bring Nova into Guardians 3. How are they going to do it?
I mean, it could be a different universe.
True. It could be a different universe, or it could be like, he's like the last surviving like Nova Corps officer, took the helmet to Richard Rider or Sam Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great point, yeah.
I would prefer Sam Alexander's Nova to be there just because like I want some Latin representation for the MCU.
Yeah.
Because we don't got that a lot.
Yeah.
But honestly, Nova's Nova at this point. Like, I don't care. Just bring Nova. Anyone to add for Guardians 3?
It's interesting because, I mean, the way that the last Guardians... my memory is a little blurry on the last Guardians, how it ended, but... I'm curious to see like if we're gonna see, I don't know, some interesting characters like Nova. Definitely, I'm not the biggest Nova fan, but I mean it would be interesting to see him up on the big screen for once, and I definitely get that light on him.
How dare you? Nova's the greatest. Anyway,
I've only known him because of Marvel vs. Capcom.
I hate you.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was my introduction to Nova.
I hate all of you.
Oh yeah, one. I'm looking forward to, which is about to come up, Morbius, which also ties into Spider-Man, as we was talking about earlier. That I'm really interested to see how that's all going to tie together, because if you look closely in the previews to Morbius, the first trailer, you can see how Spider-Man posted in an alleyway as he walks through. So, and he also intertwines with the Blade universe as well. And Blade's about to come up as well. I'm really anticipating the Blade series, see how they're going to re-editate that.
Since we're all talking about our individual excited MCU movies, I'm going to go ahead and go with mine. That's whatchamacallit. My brain stopped. Doctor Strange 2. I am so excited for this movie because I don't know if you guys know this, but reportedly this will be the MCU's first semi-horror movie, quote unquote. So it's going to have horror elements, I guess, and I want to see how that goes down, because if everyone knows, I'm a huge Marvel dork. I mean, horror dork.
When do we get love from the Netflix universe? Now that we know it's a possibility.
That's true. So like,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think my biggest thing, I need the Defenders. We need the Defenders on MCU now. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. Come on, these are classic heroes, like heroes for hire. We need all of this in there.
All right, go ahead, Don.
Good point, because in the Spider-Man movie also, as well, they showed Daredevil, which was part of that Defenders Netflix kind of block.
Dude, everyone lost their minds at that scene.
It was
It was really crazy.
Yeah, I just hope we get more from the Marvel Netflix series into the MCU.
All right, let's move on to since we're done with this whole Spider-Man thing, let's move on to some actual gaming, because we're a gaming podcast. You know what I mean? So let's real quick. I know last episode we recapped on 2021, but I feel like something we didn't do is we didn't talk about our personal our favorite games from 2021. So let me go ahead and start us off. I only played a handful last year, so I would give it to Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil was fantastic. I finally beat it just before the new year began, and that ending was wild, but it was a good fun game. I liked it. It Takes Two is another one, which is apparently won Game of the Year. That one shocked me, but I won't say shocked me, but not a lot of great stuff came out last year anyway. And then Far Cry 6 is another one I played. I know a lot of people gave Far Cry 6 flack, but it was okay. I liked it. I had fun. I didn't beat it yet, but I'm enjoying it. Nick, why don't you take us off?
So my top three, probably four. So my top I would have to say definitely agree with It Takes Two. I love the fact that it was really cooperative, and it got a chance for me and Dante to be, to play this game together for, and it definitely was fun to really enjoy the concept behind the cooperative of, just playing a game like that. So it was good. Resident Evil definitely was another one of my favorite Village of last year. It was, I love the horror behind it. The characters. I love the fact that Ethan was brought back in the second one. Because usually when they make Resident Evil games, they kind of just go all over the place. Sometimes they'll make random ones, depends on how, Capcom would make it. But I love the fact that they brought back Ethan in that sequel. 3, I probably would have to say, I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now, because it's kind of blurry with last year, but Ratchet and Clank, definitely. It was amazing. I love the fact on the graphics about it. Oh God, it was so beautiful. That covers me. Don?
Yep. As far as me, I would say 2021, I played Nier Replicant. That was pretty much it is a prequel to Nier Automata. Pretty good. I didn't finish it yet, but I'm a quarter way into the game. But yeah, so far I'm loving that series. I love that series, Nier. And also I would say Monster Hunter Rise. That was that was my first time getting into the Monster Hunter series. That was a really I love that RPG aspect of it, and the whole idea of hunting down the monsters, and you have to gather about food and scavenge. It's interesting. I definitely want to play more into it online and everything. And I say oh, Guilty Gear, his fighting game was Guilty Gear Strive. That was a standout. That's the only fighting game I played last year, but obviously it won game of the gaming awards for fighting game. It didn't really have competition, but and I say also, oh, and It Takes Two, like Nick said, like I really like the co-op aspect of that. It was really creative. It kind of reminded me of like a Toy Story kind of game. Like kind of reminded me of like the idea of like someone shrinking and then playing as a toy, but you're like it's really imaginative the way the game played out. It's definitely, it stood out. I can see why it won Game of the Year.
All right, go ahead, Mayor.
Boy, oh boy. Surprisingly, I think I literally bought every big release that dropped last year. So I think like starting with Returnal, I think that was the first big title that was announced. I'm sorry,
Returnal came out in 2021?
Yeah, it came out like the beginning of 2021. Me and Nick were like, we stayed up all night waiting for it to drop at midnight. Well, he actually had to wait because he got the physical copy, so he had to wait till the next day to go pick it up. But I think that was the first big launch from last year. In the beginning, and I think I grabbed pretty much all the big games. So like, Scarlet Nexus came out, Tales of Arise, Metroid Dread. It was just so much stuff that came out last year. But yeah, like Don said, I think for me, my favorite game of last year was definitely Guilty Gear Strive. I think for both of us, because we are fighting game fans, we were not really familiar with the Guilty Gear series. So like that kind of blew us away, especially because it was made by Arc System Works, which they're known for making like the Dragon Ball Fighters game, also the Blaze Blue series. So like that game blew us away. Like graphically, it was really impressive. The mechanics in the game were definitely different. Just the roster overall too. Like I said, we were new to the series, so it kind of blew us away. And piggybacking off what Nick said too, yeah, Ratchet and Clank was phenomenal. Like, I think, in my opinion, that's definitely like one of the top 3 PS5 games, period. I think if you own a PS5, you have to have that. It was just the innovation that they put in the game, especially because I remember they said something in like an interview that were saying like Ratchet and Clank pulls so much power from the PS5 in terms of like the dimensional rift thing that they have. So where like you get to zip line to like different dimensions. That wasn't an option that they can optimize on the PS4. It wasn't strong enough to do that. So, yeah, I mean, graphically, it was great. Story mode was fantastic. Riven was a cool character. I forget the female robot's name, but she was awesome too. The boss fights were great. I think it really like carried the torch for like classic platformers. It still kept that feel. What else was there?
I feel like we're all missing a big one.
A big one in terms of
you got this
releases.
Yeah, 2021.
Bro, there's so much. Like, I'm thinking about Call of Duty, Halo.
That's the one I was thinking of, Halo Infinite.
Yeah, Halo Infinite, of course. I don't know. For me, that wasn't the biggest release, though. It was something else. I can't pinpoint it. I think it was... Well, for me, this was the first time I played Ghost of Tsushima. So the PS5 version...
Isn't that 2020?
Yeah, it is, but like I think it's called the
definitive edition.
It's some extra cut version of the game. I never played it when it came out in 2020. So like when I played the director's cut, it was amazing. Like gameplay, graphically, I didn't finish it yet, but it's beautiful. Like, so definitely that game, I definitely give props to for sure.
All right, real quick, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Hades. That's another one that came out in 2021. Don actually put me on that game, and like I have it in my Xbox, and it's fun. I like it.
Yeah, I really want to get around to that game. I didn't get a chance to play that either, but yeah, Hades. But I want to go back to Ghost of Tsushima real quick. That DLC also came out 2021, and that was really fantastic. I definitely want to get to finishing that. I'm well into it though.
Gotcha.
There's another one. I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but I recently just bought it this year, but it came out last year. Death's Door. It's another really good one. It's like I guess like rogue, like Demon Souls kind of oriented game where like I think you play as like a little bird or something like that, and you go through different worlds and stuff. But like if you die, you have to start over. But it's a really good, like critically acclaimed game. So I think you guys should check it out when you get a chance.
Interesting. I'm looking at the pictures for it right now. It looks. I'd probably play it. All right. So. Let's move on to another game that for some reason just won't die out. Fortnite. Let's get on top of this one real quick. So Fortnite has been like all over the world lately and everything. So like, let's talk about you guys' opinions on like the influence Fortnite has on like gaming as a whole. Nick, you want to start us off? Like, what do you think?
I think Fortnite was like one of the very first type of game that influenced games out there as far as bringing in like a whole bunch of genres into one game. Meaning, I mean, there's always been games that brought, actors or musicians into like as appearance. It's always been a thing, but just not all at once. Like what I mean by that is like I could be Travis Scott and Ariana Grande in one game, like or LeBron James and Spiderman. Like these are type of games that like this influenced the gaming industry as far as just bringing in a whole bunch of genres. And I like the fact that I've never played a game like that. And it's really interesting. Like if they ever brought like Jurassic Park or something like that, like the characters from Jurassic Park, I would love to play as Alan from Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, Mir, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's Fortnite is a wrecking force. Like has been for the past couple of years. Whether people hate the game or not, you can't deny its like influence on youth culture nowadays. Elementary, high school kids, Fortnite is. That's what they go home to go play, right? They're not going home to go play Call of Duty anymore. They're not going home to play Halo or anything like that. They're grouping together. Like when we were teenagers, we would come home and play Black Ops or Modern Warfare or whatever the case may be. Fortnite is this for them. So like, I think, but yeah, going back up what you were saying about, collaborations, like there's no game on any playing field doing collaborations like Fortnite, and I think that's something that's unique about the game. Like I mean, like in some games we get little subtle like collaborations. Like I know Dead by Daylight had one where it was like they have like horror collaborations and stuff like that.
They had a bunch.
Yeah, like I know they also had like a Resident Evil collab, but the thing about it is that it just didn't hit the same like how Fortnite did. Like the skins from the Dead by Daylight collab don't even resemble the Resident Evil characters. Like Fortnite did a much better job just on the character skins alone. And I mean, you can't forget like tournaments. Like Fortnite has made people rich. Like some of the biggest Twitch streamers come from that game. Like it's absolutely game changing. Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Twitch's most viewed video is probably I think a Fortnite video or something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to think about it. Like when Fortnite when it was in its prime, Ninja was like the biggest thing in the world. Like I mean, you had him playing games with Drake, Travis Scott, other celebrities. It was crazy. Like there was no other game that was doing it to this type of scale. And the fact that the game has its collabs like categorized as like the Icon series or like the Gaming Legend series, like it's unorthodox for you to have fucking Aloy and fucking Rick from Rick and Morty on the same squad. That's just something you don't get in gaming. It's like a dream come true. Like, you know how many years we've advocated for like a Marvel versus DC type of thing, and we don't get that, but we get that from this free to play game. You could be Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and I don't know, like Thanos all on the same squad. it's different. Like, you don't see this anywhere.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Don.
Well, I can argue that even like a game like on the Switch with Smash Brothers, they're known to do that from the beginning of collabing different franchises like Pokemon and Metal Gear Solid into their game. And but at the same time, Fortnite does a good job of like advertising to get like different franchises even outside of gaming, like pop culture references and whatever. It's just I always seen Fortnite as a neon paint colored for the kids of this generation of PUBG. PUBG is like, they both came out at the same year, but PUBG is like one of the faces of the battle royale scene when it first, people got into it. But I think Fortnite definitely took that spot and really elevated it to a mass of the mainstream in that kind of way.
See, I have an interesting little perspective on it. I think Fortnite was good and bad for like the gaming culture as a whole. It's like, I think what it did good is that it, like you said, that what you said about how like celebrities are in it now. Like, I feel like it became more socially acceptable in like the famous person realm to like to be involved in gaming, and you know what I mean. Like, it's not just viewed as like only like nerds do it and stuff like that now. You know what I mean? And like I do like that like it brought like a lot of people together, especially during the pandemic. Everyone, the moms was playing Fortnite, and I do like the whole like you said, Miro, about like. You can have Batman going up against Spiderman and Rick from Rick and Morty and on all that. But I feel like the problem though that Fortnite gave the gaming world is that because it's so free to play and because like I guess because of its business model, whatever, you're bound to have imitators. And the fact that at the time the only competition it has was PUBG, and not a lot of people played PUBG, you got people like you have people like Call of Duty imitating it, Halo imitating it. Now you have Halo with a battle pass now, and like it's just that the business model is just weird to me. That like we don't need Call of Duty to have a damn battle pass. You know what I mean? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I got you. But I mean, I think the argument there is like, we go back to season passes and we go back to early microtransactions. Like, those things always been there. Like, I mean, I think, a lot of games had passes that you always had to buy. Like, Call of Duty was one of the biggest innovators for it, right? Like, when we wanted Zombies DLC, we had to pay for the season pass. They wasn't giving that stuff to us for free. I think even Uncharted at some point had things that you had to buy, expansion packs, all that stuff. So, like, those type of things aren't new. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, like, everybody else definitely profited off of, like, Fortnite's whole battle pass and stuff like that. But the thing is like, unless you're a hardcore gamer of that game, I don't think your average gamer is buying those battle passes. Like, Fortnite, I think, is probably out of all of them, the best battle pass there is. They give you something that's worth the grind. We've seen Halo's battle pass. Who's playing all the way to the last tier of that? Like, right? Like,
that's if you can get to the last tier.
It's not worth it. And we know, like, Call of Duty, Warzone, Modern Warfare, like, you know how long it takes to get to the end of those battle passes? It's like, the rewards aren't worth the grind. Like,
not at all.
Even in Apex Legends, the battle passes aren't worth it. So it's like, at least with Fortnite, I've bought the battle pass and gotten to level 30 in 2 hours. That's how fast you can get up in the battle pass, and it's worth it because the rewards are much better than other gaming battle passes.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
And I also would say, like what you were saying earlier, Alex, there's a lot of copycats out there now, and I'm seeing like Toy Story versions of the game now, battle royale games and vampire versions. I think it's about to be like a vampire version coming out soon.
There it is. It's Vampire Masquerade Blood Hunt.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that came out already.
Oh yeah. See, like it's becoming more cookie cutter in a way. It's like more saturated.
Yeah, it's oversaturated.
And it's like, yeah, it's a good genre right now that is all built up to what it's to be now, but I don't know. I don't know. It just seems too watered down, and it's just so repetitive of the same thing. I would like to see somebody change it up a bit, even if it could be like a Fortnite that, change up a different game mode or whatever.
That's true. Go ahead, Mir.
So the thing though is that the formula is same, right? You eliminate. You want to stay alive to be the last one standing, right? You get eliminated. That's it. You got to start another game. But the thing again is like with Fortnite, it's innovative, right? It has its own building system, and that's the thing that separates it from everything else. Like again, yeah, it follows the same formula, but that building structure helps it be competitive. There's no difference from Apex Legends and PUBG outside of there's nothing in the middle that separates them, right? Outside of them looking different,
right?
One of them being a first person and the other being third person. There's no building aspect of that. So at the end of the day, all you're really doing is hunting with your squad, killing another squad, and surviving to the end, which is the same thing.
First person.
Well, yeah, you have the option to change, but like it's still that same traditional formula of battle royale. Not saying Fortnite isn't, but the fact that you get the build as that competitiveness to it, to where every other like I'm pretty sure, like I haven't personally played the vampire one that you guys are talking about, but I don't think there's anything in that game that separates that differently from everything else, right? Outside of the theme of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still. You're right. At the end of the day, they're all just battle royale. It's like 100 people or whatever. Be the last alive.
Yeah.
Man.
In fact, Fortnite didn't actually start off as a battle royale game. It started off as just building forts against zombies, and it wasn't free to play either.
Yeah, save the world.
Yeah, that was this is the interesting part about it.
Is that out already? The save the world thing? Like, is that free to play yet? No.
It's not free to play, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's supported anymore. Like, I think you still can get access to it. I think you can buy the little expansion packs, and I think it comes with the campaign in there.
Okay.
Before you actually had to pay, I think like $40 for it to get the story mode. But I think if you buy one of those little character packs, you can get it included.
Yeah, gotcha. I might actually. I want to try out that.
I think I have it, but I didn't really play that much.
All right, well let's jump to another game that might become as influential in my opinion. But Dying Light 2 is coming out soon. And we got some expectations, hopes, wishes for Dying Light 2.
Yeah, I definitely want to see. It did influence as far as Dying Light 2. I think it's going to be a lot better than 1, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just 1. It did touch base on a lot of the story and what happened on the island. But in 2, I don't know. Not just the mechanics, but I don't know. I have a good feeling about 2 and how is it going to wrap up the story as far as what are we talking about on this island?
Well, just let you know that Dying Light 2 is not in the same setting as the first one.
Okay.
So in the first game you play, you're in like a Middle Eastern place called Haran, and then in this one I believe it's set in Europe. So I think it's like England or Greenland. I don't know. It's probably a fictional spot, but all I know is that it takes place somewhere in England. I mean, in Europe. But yeah, like Dying Light 2, I think is going to be one of those like really big titles because like the first game was a bit of an RPG-ish kind of game, but it sounds like this one's going to be like very heavy on the RPG. Like there's like story, there's choices, there's like apparently there's like a thing where like your choices kind of affect the island, like the setting itself. All right. Anyone got something to add on Dying Light 2?
Yeah, so the first Dying Light, I don't really remember much about it. I think it came out in 2015. I remember me and Nick, I think we went to the midnight release for it or something. But I knew we were playing together. It was a co-op game. Dude, the only thing I can remember from this game is the drop kicks. It was crazy. Like, you run and you drop kick motherfuckers. It was crazy.
I love that game so much.
It was crazy. And I know it had a good, I'm pretty sure the story was good. I can't remember it again.
Okay.
I didn't really pay attention to it too much. I know it had a lot of like side missions and shit, like safe house things, upgrading your weapons and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one. Not so much about the story mode. For me, I don't really care about zombie mode, story mode games. It's more so just the action, the co-op experience. I just need that again. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking out the story this time, though.
All right, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Dead by Daylight series.
Dying Light.
Oh, Dying Light. Sorry. But I do vaguely remember playing it with Alex and Nick back in when it first came out, the co-op. So it was a pretty fun game, survival. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the second one now. Definitely.
I can't wait for this game. It's going to be really fun. All right, well, since we don't have a lot of Dying Light knowledge, let's go and move on to the next thing. So PS5 just announced that they have a VR2. I did not care for the PS5 VR1, so I don't have a lot to input. So Nick, why don't you lead us off?
All right, so I personally own the PlayStation VR, and what was interesting about having that VR is like it didn't blow up as much as it did when it first started because there was not a lot of games that was brought onto it. But I mean, I did play some titles on there like like Until Dawn, the roller coaster game. It's
I remember that one.
Yeah, like Until Dawn. I think it was another. I don't remember the another game that I remember playing a few games on there, but it was such a long,
Iron Man, like
the
Spiderman VR.
Yeah, I had that on there. Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was like a demo and stuff like that on there at the time. But I don't know. It's just like to see a VR 2. It's like I don't know. It's just like it's interesting. I didn't think it was gonna get a 2 because honestly the first one didn't do too good, but it is interesting to see another VR, and I'm curious to see what it's going to look like on PlayStation 5 though, so that's going to be real interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better, and that's the interesting part about it, and I think that's the big seller for it, right? It's going to be on PS5 now, and the thing is that the Oculus has been doing so good, the Oculus Quest 2, like people are literally going to like, this thing's going to sell out. Like once it drops, it's going to be extremely difficult to get. Shit, the original one, the one that came out on PS4 is hard to get. Like I was trying to buy it. You pretty much can only buy it from like eBay and like third brand like websites. Like it's extremely difficult to get. But the fact that, because I think the original PlayStation VR launched with like, the Avengers and Iron Man VR. I know it had like Batman Arkham, all these different games. Like the fact that it's going to be this PS5 version and it's going to be the second generation of the PlayStation VR is going to be insane. Like again, that whole culture with the Oculus Quest 2 is just been pitting so many more people into like VR gaming. You know, a lot of people that aren't familiar with the PlayStation VR headset are definitely going to be checking this one out for sure.
And I also would say, for as the PlayStation VR, now it had its ups and downs as far as the games that was released for it, but overall, I think it was successful enough for them to make the second one. So, but I'm seeing that with the second one, it's having a new feature of eye tracing, so it's definitely like a new feature with that, and also like vibration in your ear with the headset is adding the motion to the game. Like the surround sound is making more in tune to the game as you play. So that's interesting. But yeah, what I think they should do is add exclusive. I mean, like AAA games onto the roster of these VR games. I think that would escalate it even more if they were to put more time and effort into the games for VR.
Interesting. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. I mean, like, not to keep going back to it, but like the Oculus right now has Resident Evil 4. So like that alone, like if the PlayStation version gets that, that's going to be a top seller for it. I'm sorry, what's the guy's name from Facebook again? I forget his name.
Mark Zuckerberg. iRobot.
Yeah. It was either him or somebody from the head of Quest or something, but they said that they were making Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for VR as well too. And you know, that's
GTA
like
VR game.
that's
What?
a cult classic. So like people are going to go ape shit for that. And the fact that it'll be on PS5 potentially, because it's on the Oculus Quest 2. So I'm assuming like anything that runs on there should be able to run on the PS5. So, but no, I do agree with you. Definitely more AAA games. But that's the thing. What would you guys want? Like, what would be interesting?
I don't know. I like the idea of GTA on VR. I mean, for me personally, hot take. I think VR gaming in general is a little overrated, but it's a little fun. So like, I would like to see more horror games. So like, give me like
Silent Hill.
give me Outlast in VR.
That'd be crazy.
Give me Outlast VR. There you go. That's what I want.
I want Call of Duty. Definitely. I just want to see like an actual shooter just running around and, you know, just looking around and actually holding like an actual. I just like the poses of just holding a gun in your hand. So definitely I can't wait to see what that would be like if that's a possibility.
So, I mean, there is like, and I agree with you, definitely a AAA Call of Duty would be fire, but there are a lot of like first person shooters on there. There's this one battle royale, it's called like Population something. I forget the name of it.
Doesn't Battlefield have one too?
What, a VR?
Yeah.
No, Battlefield doesn't have one.
Or is it Bad Company I'm thinking of, or like
I think it's
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor has one,
one.
yeah. But this, it's called Population 0 or 1, something like that. But it's a battle royale game. I bought it. I refunded it immediately. It was horrible. So I agree with you. I think a first-person shooter would be ideal, especially a AAA one. But the issue is that I'm not sure if you guys played any of them on there, the ones that are on there. It's pretty difficult to like really control. Just the reload mechanics that a lot of them you have to like dip your hand down in order to reload and then re-grab the gun. Some of it can be a little annoying. So like, I don't know, like I do want a Call of Duty, but I feel like it'll face all those issues.
Well, maybe if they optimize the controls, maybe it'll probably be a little better, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like they'll follow the formula of what everybody else is doing. Because, I mean, think about it. What can you really do to reload if you're in a VR headset, right?
I mean, you could do like I don't know if you ever played The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
Yeah.
You literally have to like grab the clip from your side of your body and like actually put it in the gun and reload.
Which is in it's in one of these. It's in that's a mechanic in a lot of them. Like I know the Drop Dead game that me and Nick played. I think that's how that works too. I think you have to pull the clip out of your pocket or whatever and load it into the gun. I mean, but yeah, I agree with you. One of the things that I do want to see on VR, which I know is coming, they said Among Us.
That'd be really cool.
Be amazing. The Among Us VR version would be insane.
Don, you wanna elaborate on your fondness for Among Us?
Yeah, Among Us is fine. I get that it's boosting up as far as its popularity, but I would like to really see a really game that implements all the aspects of the VR as well as the controller for the PS5. Because I feel like a game, for instance, like Ghost of Tsushima, when you swipe with the touchpad, you can see the motions of the wind. Like that, for example, like really implement the features in the VR as like a game built around those features to really, invest that kind of, to give you that real grips of how that game with the extension features of the game can really be,
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, piggybacking off of that, yeah, the immersive way to like use the controller. I think with that, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the dual set headset for PS5, but like that's also something that like you were saying, like it should be an ecosystem for you, right? Like you should be able to use the controller to like navigate easily. The Sony Pulse headset should be able to fit with the VR, so you shouldn't need to buy an extra headset if you already have that. But yeah, I think I agree with you. Yeah.
Interesting. Don, you got more?
Yeah, like even what I was just saying with the horror games, like can you imagine if they had a horror game, you can hear the rumbling of a monster coming near you, like the footsteps and the headsets, and man, you get fully immersed. They need to really take advantage of what they got, because the other consoles are not really doing anything with the VR, the Oculus technology. So
real quick, I want to add something real quick. Since we're talking about Outlast, the Outlast Trials is coming out soon, and like that might be my game. It's a multiplayer Outlast game. I'm all for it,
bro. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan. I think I played the very first one. It's about some guy. He is like a camera or something, right? And he's like going into, what is it, an asylum or something?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think he's looking for somebody or looking for answers or something.
No, he's looking to expose a corrupt company.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I bought it. I bought the first one. I played it for a little bit. I got up into the guy. What's the guy's name? The big guy that follows you around.
Chris Walker.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that I wasn't a fan, but it's definitely chilling.
So you're a big horror fan?
Not the biggest, but like, you know, I could see myself going back to the game again, especially for something like to stream live or something like that, you know, on a nice little late night or something like that.
100% of that game. I loved it.
So, one last thing about the VR PlayStation. I'm seeing that you're taking this really serious with this VR too. So don't make it another PlayStation move. You've seen the failure of the move. You're trying to copy the Wii. I understand it was the trend. You're riding the wave of the Wii, but don't drop the ball on this. If you're really serious about it, go forward and just like really hammer it in with the VR features and all that. That's all I have to say.
All right. So yeah, you got more to add?
Bro, I haven't heard of that in decades. It's a PlayStation move. Like,
yeah, I think Don's like the last person who remembers that.
Yeah, that thing. That was not a good attempt by them.
Yeah.
I do think they should like try to like have some type of Uncharted experience on VR. I think that would be pretty cool.
That'd just be wouldn't it be just like a first person shooter?
I mean, it could be something like I don't know, like you can just explore temples or something like that.
I feel like it'd be like a puzzle heavy game, really.
Yeah, they can make it something like that.
All right. Well, speaking of PlayStation, Sony just announced that they're trying to release like something close to like the Game Pass. What are your thoughts on that?
All right, so my thoughts on the title Spartacus. I mean, I don't understand. Like,
that's a stupid title.
Is that what it's going to be called?
Yes, sir. It's called Spartacus. I did a research on it, and the article states that basically from Spartacus, what they're going to do is they're going to bring PlayStation Plus games and PlayStation Now games together, even though that's something that they could have done without doing
since day one.
Yeah, I just don't understand. And obviously that this service is only going to focus on probably like games that sold over probably 100 million units, or like top PlayStation 4 games. They're not going to have like classics and stuff like that probably. I mean, they might have classics in there, but
that's the thing, right? Like, if you're not going to add your classics, why make that thing at all? Like,
right.
Like, Xbox Game Pass has classics on there, like original Xbox games, 360 games, Xbox One. Like, you're telling me, like, the seller for me to buy that, I need to be able to go back and play Uncharted 2, Uncharted 1,
right,
whatever, for free. Like, not for free, but me paying the subscription. And it should be reasonable, right? It should be about $10 to $15 a month if you want to, like, compete with Game Pass. The thing is, I think Sony has the titles for sure. Like, anybody will want to go back and play the original Killzone games or like the Resistance series. People will want to play that.
Or maybe Jack and Daxter.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I just wanted to add real quick. I don't know much about this news thing, so like I'm just learning a lot. So Spartacus, that's what it's called. That's a stupid name.
Yeah.
First off, they messed up. They could have just called it PSP, PlayStation Pass. You know what I mean? Like they have the trademark for the
people though.
It might confuse people, but it's a clever little way to pay homage to the console, like the handheld John.
No.
But wait, only like you can't play like none of the old classic games. Like if I'm going to pay for that, I want to play like the old classic Jones too.
Well, actually, they are actually going to include. They're going backwards compatible with this as well. As I was reading in an article,
okay, that's
the
good.
PS1 and PS2 and PSP games.
Okay, good.
But I'm not sure about PS3, but as far as like those past three, yeah, I'm hearing that they're going to include those. So
yeah, I was gonna say if I can't play Jack and Daxter or like the old Killzone games, then I'm gonna be pissed.
So another thing, like, Greg, because we got to talk about like what's in it for us. Like, why are we going to buy this?
Right.
So like with Game Pass is fine for me. Like, I'm not really like, I don't use it that often outside of if it's something that I used to play and I don't have it anymore and it's on Game Pass, I'll, go back to it that way. But like,
Wait,
I
real
want to
quick.
see.
Also, doesn't Game Pass come with like you can get Game Pass and that gives you Xbox Live Gold, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's all together. It's
So then,
Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like, is PlayStation going to do that too, or is it like a separate?
They have to. They can't charge us because essentially it'll be the same thing that they have now, right? You have your PlayStation Plus and then you have your PlayStation Now. It wouldn't make sense for them to start a streaming subscription service, which is what they have now, but then still make us pay for the online. It just wouldn't make any sense.
It wouldn't make sense, but I wouldn't put it past them to do it.
I don't think they'll be dead. I don't think they'd do that.
I hope they don't. I'm not saying they will, but I hope they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, this gives us a chance to see. I say let's give them a chance to see what it's going to be like. And then also, I do like one thing about it is that it might give us a chance to go back and play some games that we didn't actually get the chance to play. Yeah. So that's one thing. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, because I would like to see them bring back like the first 1, 2, and 3 of Metal Gear Solid series that I never got to play, and that's kept back on the PS3 and the PS2 days, and it's been X'd out ever since.
Also, real quick, does anyone know what the price is expected to be for these? There's no price on it yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, I wouldn't be past it if it was like $15, $20. See, the thing for me, like, I need to see games that I want to play that aren't being thought of right now, right? So, like, I need Def Jam, right? If Sony can get the license for that to add that on there as a backwards compatible game, that'd be amazing. Like, think about it. We always used to talk about what was the game called? The Marvel
Ultimate Alliance.
No. Well, that too, but Rise of the Imperfects, right?
Oh, that was a
Remember that on the PS2? It was amazing. So it's like if they can get titles like that again, that'll be a huge thing. Like,
yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and I also would say, you know what they should do? They should do like with pre-order games, like new release games. They should give you early access to those games, and that way it'll drive in more customers to buy into that subscription. I think that would be a good tactic to go on.
Also, I'm just saying, if I don't see Twisted Metal on there, I'm going to rage.
It has to be. That's a Sony. They have to. If they don't, then
no, but it specifically has to be Twisted Metal Black.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, piggybacking off what you just mentioned, Don, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like that was a thing. Like when the GTA trilogy came out, when you pre-ordered it, it was supposed to originally be live the following day at 10 a.m. So I think it came out November 9th or something like that, but it wasn't going to be live until November 10th, 10 a.m. But people who pre-ordered it on PlayStation were able to play it at 12. There was an actual like disconnect between Rockstar and Sony. So I guess the game was released early on PlayStation to everybody else, but people on other platforms like the Switch, Xbox, PC, they actually had to wait. So, I mean, I think that could like cause like, conflicts and stuff like that in the future with Sony and working with anybody. But, ideally, if that was a thing, whereas like Sony did give us access to stuff like that early, especially their games, that'd be great. Yeah.
You want to add that?
Oh, yeah. And also just like I've seen a problem with the PlayStation Now that the server of it is not really well, because it's kind of laggy. It would drop the frame rates and it would kind of lag a little bit from what I played the games I played on there a little bit. So if they fix the server on there, that will also help a lot.
All right. Sony, we got you caught our attention, but let's see how you do it. All right. So we're a little bit short on time. So let's go ahead and bring up a new thing we call short takes, where it's sort of an outro thing, but each of us will just bring up a random topic that we wanted to cover real quick and like go over it, but we won't really go too deep on it. It's just the individual that we're individual wanted to go on it. So Nick, give us your short take.
All right, guys. My short take is going to be the NVIDIA event that just happened recently. I'm a PC builder and I'm really into PC techs. And like I said, what Nvidia did, I'm not really happy with the 3090 Ti, as many fans as I was in that. I was actually on YouTube and I was watching the comment boxes, and I could see like a lot of fans were not happy about this because honestly, the 3090 is already with the scalping situation, and pretty much it's so difficult to get that graphics card. It's just I just don't understand why Nvidia would try to make a stronger version of the card, instead of, I think they did great with making the 3050, because that gives it gives people a chance to try to get this card, even though it might still be difficult because you still got the scalpers that are definitely going to try to scalp their way into the market. So they're still not going to be many people being able to get this. And those prices, obviously, when they said that it's going to be, I think it's going to be at $200 or something like that. No, it's going to be double the price because NVIDIA is known for that. NVIDIA just knows just to try to get your attention. But as soon as it reaches the shelves, it's like it's like double the amount of the price. And it's, I like the fact that they're giving people a chance to try to get their hands on RTX because it's very difficult. I had to struggle to get the 3080, and it was not easy, but I like the fact that they're trying to get, some of these cards into gamers' hands. But the problem is that, like I said, it was kind of like they were looking out for us, and then they slammed that back at our faces when they said, here's a 3090 Ti, instead of just trying to focus on trying to get as much graphics cards into people's hands, because there's people out there that are struggling with their computer hardware and they're not able to play the games at the high max settings because they can't afford these things, So I like the fact that they're trying, but it was unnecessary for them to bring out the 30 Ti. They could have definitely waited until the 40 series would come out at some point. They're in talks about that. There's no release date. There's no promise or anything. We might see more releases this next, I don't know. I'm not sure in the next quarter or the end of the year or probably the beginning of next year, 2023. We don't know, but they could have definitely waited on that. And like I said, not to go on a tangent, but they're definitely, I think AMD did great with their graphics cards and, with their processing as well, because they dropped a lot of processors, the new processor for the 6000 series. So I'm intrigued to see how they run games and how they perform. And just to to see what's the next generation of PC gaming. But definitely just take your time, guys, out there. If you guys are struggling to try to get some new graphics cards and new CPUs, it's going to be a long shot, man. I mean, the stock market for these things are not great right now, and it's not a good time to upgrade your PC parts. It might be a while, but definitely just hang in there. We're all in this together. I hope that everybody gets a chance to get their hands on a 30 series card, because we all are gamers at the end of the day, and we're just trying to have a great experience. But that's all my take.
All right, Gucci. Dante, you want to hit us with your shirt take?
Well, yeah. As far as the games I'm looking forward for 2022 or this year, I would say to top it off, it would be Lost Souls Aside. That's like, to sum up that game, is pretty much like a Final Fantasy meets Devil May Cry. And actually, the original creator of Devil May Cry is actually working on that game. So I'm really interested to see what that game is going to be. It's looking to come out this year, though. And another game that's coming out that I'm looking forward to would be, Bayonetta 3. As like guys just said, the creator of Devil May Cry also made Bayonetta 3. I've been anticipating this. I played the first one. I got into the series last year when they reamped it onto the PS4. I love it. Bayonetta is, I'm into it now. So I can't wait for Bayonetta 3. And let's see what else. Oh, and also, so it's more low key game. It's more of like an indie game, but this is supposed to come on the new consoles. Solus, It's like a RPG, medieval times kind of game, hack and slash. I'm looking forward to that too. It's interesting. It kind of stands out to me. It's probably gonna get overlooked, but I definitely want to keep my eye out for it. And I'll see. Project Eve. That one, I have to. If anything, I have to get that game. That is like one of my most anticipated ones of this year, along with Final Fantasy 16. That's going to be on PS5. That's a PS5 exclusive, so that might actually push me to the edge to get the PS5. I don't know. We'll see how it looks, but yeah, that's definitely my roundup for this year. What I'm looking forward to.
All right, nice. All right, Mir, you want to hit us with your short take?
So I actually don't have one.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, actually, I'm good right now. I don't have one.
All right, cool. All right, so I want to hit everyone with my short take, which is one of my most anticipated games of this year so far, and that's the Dead Space remake. The Dead Space franchise is my favorite franchise of all time. But I'm a little worried because EA is now almost entirely taking over the franchise now. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the first three games were done by Visceral Games, which are now basically Sledgehammer. So now that they're gone and EA is just completely taking it over, I'm worried that they're going to pull a Mass Effect and dump it with the Frostbite engine. And it's not going to run well, and it's going to look all ugly and crap. So hopefully they don't. But just want to let everyone know that I am worried for the game, but still I'm really excited because I love the Dead Space franchise, and I'm glad that they're actually remaking it and not necessarily just doing a remaster. It's an actual whole new game. But yeah, hopefully EA doesn't drop the ball on this one like they did with Battlefront. Rest in peace. Alrighty.
I actually like Battlefront.
How dare you?
It was
Get
cool
out.
when it came out.
Go home.
It was
fired.
Battlefield and a Starfield setting. It was cool.
Starfield didn't come out yet.
No. You said Battlefront, right?
Yeah, but you said Starfield.
No. I said it was Battlefield with a Star Wars setting.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing. The game's pretty.
It definitely had its audience. I still think Battlefront 2 is still being played to this day, and
I don't understand why
they're playing the dual version thing. Where you're playing as I think Darth Vader against Luke Skywalker or something like that.
Yeah, but isn't one of those? Isn't Han Solo the one they play as? He's really broken.
I don't know.
There's apparently there's a dodge. His dodge thing is so OP that it's so easy to get kills with Han Solo.
Listen, the only time I only had the first one, and I played it like Call of Duty. I played objective-based game modes, team deathmatch, domination.
You play Call of Duty for the objectives? How dare
Absolutely,
you?
yeah. Bro, Call of Duty Hardpoint is a must for me. You have to.
I like domination.
Domination is also good too. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Don.
Oh, and there's one more other game I forgot to mention. I'm looking forward to Amari. It's supposed to be a Switch game. This game was initially on PC only in 2020, but Amari is a psychological horror game. It's kind of
interesting.
You can kind of relate it to a Undertale. It's kind of like pixel art and that kind of style, and it's an overhead shot like Pokemon will play out. The format of Pokemon. It's interesting. I definitely want to get into that type of game, that JRPG. I'm looking forward to it. Amari. Yeah, that definitely stood out to me.
When you first said Amari, my brain went to Amarion for some reason. I was just wait, the singer? I was wait, no, okay.
I thought of the clothing brand, the fashion
that's
brand.
Armani.
I think there's one called
No, not Amari. You're thinking of Armani.
Nah, Amari jeans. I think that's it there. It's a high-end fashion.
Never heard of that.
Brand. Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah, that's funny too, because the original creator of Amari is actually a streetwear brand creator called Ami Cats, and they also made
look at that.
The game is based off a webcomic that is it's a psychological horror that deals with anti-social things like anxiety and whatever. It's interesting. It definitely stands out to me. I'm going to look into it as a Switch game.
Alrighty, well, that wraps it up for this episode. Guys, make sure to give this podcast a nice little follow, thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We will catch you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next episode. Goodbye.
Peace.